Hi, I'm Rose McDonough, and I'm a retired home ec teacher. I just was wondering if anybody knew what show I was pretending to be. I'm Wilson from Home Improvement. Remember how he always looked over the fence? I'm looking over a chair cushion. Did you have any idea this is what your cushions look like on the inside? Well, it is. So my friend had called me and she said, "Can you help me?" And she had a chair cushion, and that's what she had shown me. But she also had shown me this hole that was in here. Can you fix it? Yeah, I think I can fix it. Holy cow, was it hard to get it off. So I had to unzip it. And as I unzipped it, whoop, the zipper pull was in my hand. It had completely come off. It was wide open here at the bottom. There was no stopper on the bottom like there is supposed to be. So I thought, oh, first thing I'm going to have to replace the zipper if I can't get the zipper back on. But I did get the zipper pull back on. So I do need to fix that. And before I start flipping this and flopping this and sewing this, this is the first thing that I want to do. I've already shown that you can do this with jeans or pants or something like that. But this time I'm using something slightly different. I'm not using thread. I'm using embroidery floss. Embroidery floss looks like this. It comes in here, it's cotton something or other, I have no idea, but it's very thick, and there comes about, I think 6 strands all together. And depending on whether you're cross stitching or what you're doing, you might be doing 2 strands, you might be doing 1 strand. I'm today going to do 2 strands together. So what I did is I took my thread and I brought out, how much do you need? I don't know. It's just like when you're sewing, about the same amount. I don't know. I need about this much. And I cut it. And then I pulled it apart. So I have individual strands here. 2 together, I'm sorry. And then I went ahead and I threaded my needle. I am not using a small sewing needle. I'm using something that has a bigger eye to it because I'm going through something, the upholstery fabric, that's bigger, that's thicker. So I need something that's got a little bit more oomph to get through. But I'm going to do the same thing that I always do. I'm going to come into that spot where I need to go. Oh my gosh, there's another hole over here I didn't even realize about. That's crazy. I'm going to come in onto that spot and I'm going to lock in. So I'm going to just lock it in actually into the upholstery because I think that'll be easier for me to lock in. And I'm going to leave a tail, 1, and I'm going to go in about the same spot, pull it through again, 2 and 3. And because it's a thicker fabric, even though I'm using thick thread, you're not really seeing it. I'm going to go down in and across and come out. So I'm on either side of this giant zipper and I'm going to go through. And all I'm going to do is go underneath it and then I'm pulling the thread so that it's going over it. We're making our own zipper pull since this particular zipper did not have one. Regardless of whether she had gotten, there had been a tear in here, whenever she tried to take this off, say to get these dry cleaned or whatever, she was going to have the same issue. So this is just as well that we're taking care of it now. I'm going to go in over here on this side onto the upholstery, and again, 1 and 2, and this time I'm going to wrap it around right behind, and it makes a knot, and I'm going to do it a 3rd time. Wrap it right behind, pull it through, it makes a knot. It's not going anywhere. I know that it's in there nice and tight, and I can pull this out. Your needle should either be in your project, in by your fingers, or in some kind of fabric so that it doesn't accidentally fall on the ground. So if you see now, I'm going to pull this down, it's not going anywhere. I can pull it up to the top and close it. The zipper pull was up here. You're probably wondering, why is there not one on the bottom? Very good reason. If you're doing projects like this, you can't always get zippers that are the exact size of what you need. Let's say you needed a 28-inch zipper, but you couldn't find one. So you use a 30-inch zipper and you just cut it at the end. It should have been cut and had a zipper pull made into it, but for whatever reason that wasn't done. The next thing to do is to go in and find out where the heck are all of these holes. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to flip the whole thing through, turn it inside out, because you're always working on with the right sides of the fabric together. You're working on the inside so that you can go ahead and have your seams in here. And I'm looking at this, and I'm guessing that the person used a sewing machine to do this, but at this point I can't really use a sewing machine. I actually have to hand stitch this. I'm going to pin down where I think that I want it to go, and if I needed to, I could actually use a little bit of a marker and make myself a line so I know where to sew on. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to find the other one. Not sure exactly what happened here, but unfortunately I'm either going to have to pull off a little bit more threads, or I'm going to have a lump in there. So I'm choosing that I'm going to pull off a little more threads, and if I knew where my seam ripper was, so I'm going to go in between the stitches, and I'm going to pop a few more stitches out. They're very loose anyway, so it's not that hard to do that. I'm going to pop these out. There we go. And then what I can do is take this and pull it over. And when you pull it over, now I can go and I can make another seam here with that hole being covered up, and it'll go all the way up. So I'm going to put a couple pins in because I want to have an idea of where I'm going to sew. If you wanted to, you could machine stitch this, but then if you don't have a machine, how the heck are you going to figure out how to do this unless I show how to do this? So I've gone ahead and I've put some pins in, and then I flipped it back over to check to make sure that's exactly where I wanted it to be. And I'm taking my threads, and this time I'm only using 2 threads. I'm not using the thickness, and so I have actually loose. It's kind of weird for you to see that, but if you've been an embroidery person, you're used to it because this is what you do. Your needle is able to slide back and forth. But I'm locking it in just like I normally would. 1, 2, and 3, and it's locked in. And I'm going to do that long stitch. I'm taking a step behind, and I'm moving a little bit forward. And I'm taking a step behind, and I'm moving a little bit forward. I'm going to go ahead and remove my pin right now. And I'm going to slide this up a little bit, and I'm going to go behind. It's thick, but I have to go through all of it and move it forward, because that's what happened before. Somehow one of those pieces, because she was making a corner when the person made this, and it didn't actually get all put together over there. A step behind, and I'm moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and take that pin off. I don't need to do all these thicknesses, but I am going to go through them because they're there anyway. And the more you're going, the more reinforcement it is at this point. The less likely it is for the cushion to tear from the pressure of the body sitting on it. Think about when your kids are jumping on furniture. I'm sure you've all seen kids jump on furniture, or you've been the kid who has jumped on furniture, and you end up splitting one of the pieces of furniture. This is something that you can do to fix it. I have loaned out my needle, but I have a needle that's shaped round-like, and that needle will help repair, because if you can't be flipping like we're doing, then that one will go in and back out. All right, so I'm doing the last part of it. I'm wrapping the needle, the thread around the needle. I'm pulling it through, and I'm making a knot. See how tight it is? You hear it. You know that it's not coming out anytime soon. Putting my needle back down here on my fabric. Is it done? I don't know. I'm not going to know until I check it and make sure that I didn't miss any pieces. I have there's some of the nylon threads that were sewn with before are there. My stitches are in there. I've caught everything. The stitches that were done to put this together were kind of large, and I'm thinking that's why it tore there. All right, so that one's good. So I need to go over to this other one. And if you remember, I went ahead and I pulled a couple stitches out because I needed to pull this over. I'm going back behind where the hole had been. I think I want to get my thread, my needle with a little bit more thread on it just to be sure I have enough. So I've done the same thing. I have 2 threads, 2 embroidery floss threads going in here, but I'm not using 4 thicknesses, just 2. So I'm going to go ahead in, I'm going to lock it in, 1, 2, and 3. And then to make the long stitch, take a step behind, go ahead and go forward. My analogy always is, you've got the ball. You have to go up and huddle up behind, sneak the ball forward. Huddle up behind, sneak the ball forward. I'm a little worried at this spot because of how much of the fabric is starting to fray. But I'm going to do my best to get through here and hope that I'm catching everything. Take a step behind to make my play, move the ball forward, go behind and move the ball forward. Now unfortunately I've got to go all the way down to here, so it's a lot of stitching to do. And I'm going to try not to make giant stitches, but because I'm using a bigger needle, it's harder to control what I'm doing. I have gone and I've sewn all the way down, and I'm sewing right past where the hole had been. And I'm going to go ahead and lock it in. 1 and 2, and I'm going to wrap it around right behind to the left, pull it through, it makes a knot. I'm going to do one more time, pull it, wrap it around, pull it through, it's a knot, and I was done. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the thread. The only thing I want to check is up here. It's definitely looking like it's frayed. So what I could do is go back in and reinforce over that area. But before I do that, I want to check. And so I check over here, and the hole that was there is now gone. There's a little bit of threads in here, and what I can do is use my needle, catch those threads, and pull them back through to the other side. But other than that, it's fixed. This part is fixed. This part is fixed, and I can go ahead and attach this back into here, which is not going to be easy to do because of the wide, weird shape of it. But I'm going to put this back into here, and she's going to have a cushion that's now usable again. And the zipper pull, we don't have to worry about it again. It's not going to come off. It's locked in tight. So that's it. This is something easy for you to do. I know that you think, well, my goodness, not everybody is going to want to fix their upholstery. But it sure is a lot easier to fix your upholstery than it is for you to go out and get a new chair. Shout out to, I'm trying to pull the name out, oh, Paula Cochran. How nice. Paula is always so supportive of everything I do. Thank you so much, Paula. And I'm really glad that you have Josh doing some cooking, and I pulled 2 out at the same time. Hey, Eric McDonough is one of my subscribers. McDonough. I think I've heard that name before. I'm not really sure where, but it sounds kind of familiar to me. Thanks, Eric, for also being a subscriber. Have a really good rest of your night, your weekend, whenever it is that you are watching this. And make sure that you remember to like and subscribe. And as I always ask, leave comments so I know something that you want me to be able to show you how to do. Thank you.